Robyn and I didn't get a chance to really just make things right. Just not being able to say goodbye.
Hi besties, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It's Thursday, May 8th, 2025. I have some intel for you about Kody Brown and Robyn Brown and why everyone in the family wants nothing to do with them. At least this is what someone who contacted me and was involved in coordinating the National Guard's Nevada Service Memorial for Garrison Garrison Brown, who took place in late March of 2024. So, if you recall on the show, Kody had mentioned that he wanted to bring Garrison home and bury him in the ground. Well, that remark of his was clearly sent to someone who assisted in organizing his memorial and who was aware of the specifics of the cremation, the service, and the wishes of the family, and also knew that the filming at the memorial of the National Guard was something that no one in the family wanted except for Kody supposedly. So the planted them in the ground provoked them and they reached out to me. And so here's all the information about what happened, and this also could be why when Mykelti said last year that something had happened at the funeral that had made them pull away from Kody and Robyn and that they no longer support them. And it was things and behaviors that they had done that angered them, and that is why Mykelti has reported that Kody has not apologized to any of his children since the funeral and nobody speaks to him. Actually, it's gotten worse. So here is what they reported happened. So Garrison Brown, if you know who he is, was a member of the Nevada National Guard, and anyone who is an active member of the Guard when they go into the service, they are given a chance to assemble a will, establish a power of attorney, and ensure that whatever they have as much as the military is protected, and there is a plan in case they are sent out and they do not return alive or if something occurs while they are in service and they pass away. And so soldiers have this choice to do it when they join the service initially or when they travel to a deployment, and that is what this individual explained to me. And so within the United States Armed Forces they have a mortuary services department who coordinates all of the normal funerals or memorials for soldiers, and they also handle and maintain any of the cremation or burial along with handling like the 21-gun salute, the honor guard, the memorial service itself, the hosting of the event, and then coordinating everything to administer the estate. So service members are able to have insurance policies, the wills that are presented by the service members to the United States. Sir, you know the United States Armed Services is then presented to the family so the family knows who is in the will and what becomes of the estate, and here's the information on the insurance policies so that they have everything they need to settle the estate. So this individual was a part of all that, and so what they said may surprise you or perhaps it doesn't, but their supposed claim, and this is their claim for entertainment and information purposes only, but I definitely confirmed that they are an employee of the United States Armed Services, and I also confirmed that they were affiliated with this event. So Garrison's memorial was constructed, it was all facilitated, so they have the mortuary services is headquartered out of Virginia, and then they send out to the different regions where a service member dies, where they have to arrange a funeral or a memorial service, and they have a chance to do like a normal military service, and then they can bury them in a military cemetery, or they can do cremation, they can do private burials. It really depends on the families, and so in this instance they made a decision based on what Garrison wanted, and there wasn't any burial whatsoever conducted by the military, so when they were attending the service, they informed the urn from Garrison was released to Janelle and her sons, and throughout the whole memorial services, it was the urn holding his remains in the custody and control of Janelle and her children, and during the service as it was approaching the service, word began making its way back to the family that Kody would like to have cameras come into the National Guard service to record it for TLC, and they claim that a member of Janelle's family, not one of the boys, not one of the siblings, but a family member contacted Kody and informed Kody in so many words that he was not to attend the event, that cameras were not allowed at the event. They didn't want cameras at the event, and especially that Robyn wasn't to attend the event. Since Robyn's relationship with Garrison was highly strained and Garrison didn't like her, they were also respecting her requests as well as family members. This individual explained that there was a kind of mood beneath that Kody and Robyn's actions and the way they treated Garrison and bullied him and targeted him on the show was responsible for his mental health to deteriorate due to his sadness of being shunned and the public display of bullying and just the way they treated Garrison. And since Garrison was estranged from Kody and Robyn, they didn't want them there. Kody, however, didn't mind that, I suppose, and so he was instructed not to go, and he was supposedly instructed don't bring Robyn, and so as they were preparing everything, the hope was that this would not be taped. The National Guard did not want it taped, the family didn't want it filmed, and then at the funeral, which was conducted in Nevada, technically a public function, Kody arrives with his wife in tow despite being asked not to come and not to bring cameras, and he brought TLC along as well. And so when he got there, my source indicated or claimed that the tone in the room totally changed, as if the mood had shifted. It was as if oxygen dropped out of the room. Folks were angry that Kody was present, and they indicated that Kody and Robyn and TLC like trapes and like celebrities, show ponies is what they indicated. And they just kind of had this attitude that they were high and mighty and that everybody should just be like happy that they were there. They definitely had this feeling that they were superior to everybody else. That is their impression and how it was taken by the bravado Kody had. And that when they got there, Kody and Robyn were already mic'd up, set to film, which made people angry because they didn't want this filmed. They didn't want it filmed in particular because Garrison had doubts clearly about being on the show. He didn't like the show. His last text messages were regarding the show. And they didn't want this to be taken advantage of by Kody, and they didn't want the show to be turned into a show about Kody when it should have been turned into a show about Garrison. So TLC, in spite of the fact that many members of the family did not want it filmed this memorial. And so when the individual learned that Kody had mentioned he buried them, they wanted me to understand that if Kody received those ashes, they were not legally his to own. He wouldn't necessarily have been able to bury him because Kody was not listed on Garrison's birth certificate. So on the show, Janelle has said that Garrison and all the children were on, that Kody was on all of the birth certificates for the children, but the individual who oversaw all of this paperwork said Kody was nowhere to be found on the birth certificate. So legally they said Kody was not the father. Kody can claim that he's the father, but legally he's not because there's no legal document showing that he's the parent. No paternity test to verify. He's not listed on the birth certificate. And as far as the will goes, they told him Kody was left out of the will entirely. So Garrison had established a will and he'd named Janelle his power of attorney and she was managing the estate, and Kody wasn't a part of anything. He wasn't covered under the insurance policy. He received nothing in the will. And they told us that they would have killed to have been a fly on the wall when Kody read the will and read his name wasn't even mentioned in the will, because there was also this tension underneath that Kody and Robyn were going to attempt to come for the money. But Garrison saw to that in advance and he made sure that Kody and Robyn received nothing. So I suppose that's the silver lining, is that even though he died young, he had his end planned out in advance. So it made it much simpler for his mother to handle because she had complete control after he passed on. She could be the executor of his estate, she could get his house and sell it, and close off that. So she was able to look after anything. And so since when he passed away and did the cremation, they informed her it's a standard service. So family does not need to sit down with them in order to find out what had been done. Because Garrison had it all mapped out, they were able to handle it for Garrison. And then once Garrison's ashes and urn are given to the family and it's released to Janelle and the sons, and those, so they said that at the event, Kody and Robyn arrived, the urn is in the custody and control of the sons and Janelle. Nobody speaks to Kody and Robyn. Kody and Robyn show up with TLC and film it with TLC. So why was he there with the cameras? This is the worst thing. So they told us that Kody was at the event because he had a storyline that he was filming for his show. So if you want to know who is behind the TLC show, there is no question in my mind after talking to this individual that Kody controls how the show is done and what the storylines are, and why he's being given such an edit currently is because this is being dictated by Kody. He needs a narrative of being a good father. He needs a redemption arc, and he needs to use Garrison's death as a way of demonstrating he's a grieving father. And the story wasn't even that he wanted to be a grieving father, he wanted to shoot to demonstrate he was a grieving father and the family was abusive and horrible towards his wife. That's what they claim. So he took Robyn there for drama only, not because she wanted to be there, cause Robyn disliked him too. So he wanted to tape and make an example of the family and make it a vehicle for saying, I've been estranged from my son and I've lost my child and my child is dead and this family is treating my wife so badly. Which was why they didn't want them there in the first place. They didn't want this on the show, they didn't want them to be connected with this because Garrison did not want anything to do with them. And they were attempting to respect Garrison's desires and they did not want to take advantage of this for Garrison, but Kody chose to take advantage of it. And there was nothing they could do about it other than those who would not appear on camera or those who did not get mic'd up. And since some of the women are under contract, I don't know if they were mic'd up. I didn't question it, but they may have had to have cooperated by then since Kody came over there with cameras. So it seems like once they get whatever it is that he does there, they tell him the mistake switches, and then once they're there and they're about to sit down, Kody wanted to sit in the front row with Janelle and sit beside Janelle so that he could gain the attention of being the morning dad beside the morning mom but not gain the attention on himself. And it seems like they told him no, and they would not permit Kody to sit beside Janelle. And so they decided that Hunter, since he was an Air Force officer, would sit up front beside Janelle and that Kody and Robyn could sit a little further back, but no one wanted them in the front row. And then Mary was on the opposite side of the aisle because Gwendolyn must have needed somebody with her like she needed to be comforted by Mary. So Mary was sitting with Gwendolyn and Bea due to a request by Gwendolyn, and I don't know why McKelty and Tony were on the opposite side, but I inquired about it. They simply said that Gwendolyn needed Mary present with her, so she required like support. So while at the service they stated that there is a procedure in the military that if a service member dies and they are married, the automatic individual that receives the flag is the surviving spouse. When an unmarried service member dies, the automatic individual that receives the flag and the medals is the mother. And so although Kody was not officially on the birth certificate, he wouldn't have received the medals or the flag anyhow. But of course he sort of caused a disturbance at the end because he wanted the flag and he wanted the medals, but the flag and medals were given to Janelle because the standard military procedure is the mother receives it. And even if he would have wished so, he was not included as a next of kin if Janelle would have deferred to him, but she did not. So Janelle departed with Garrison's military medals as well as the flag. They reported that Janelle's sons were the three sons of Janelle's, Logan, the surviving Logan, Hunter and Gabriel. They identified as very polite, very kind, very cooperative and very protective of their mother, and were very protective of keeping Kody away from Janelle. So when they were sitting sort of in that little group with Gabriel, Logan and then Hunter sort of boxing her away from Kody, that was on purpose. They didn't want Kody around her, and Kody's whole reason for going there was not about Garrison. And even while there, the person said that Kody was not behaving like a grieving father. When the cameras were on, they mentioned that Kody was essentially attempting to strainingly produce tears, and so was Robyn, attempting to act like crying yet not even crying at all. Like they mentioned, it was all for appearances because when he entered it was more like, I have a storyline, I have this thing to shoot for my show. Can you believe it? Oh my god. I felt something when I saw the photos that something occurred like this. But so they told me that after the memorial was completed, the urn was presented with the remains to the boys and to Janelle, and that once again Kody had no rights to it. They told him when they were done they couldn't tell how Kody obtained those, and they also aren't certain even if Kody acquired the remains. So they don't know whether Garrison is really buried in Wyoming or not, or whether they were given like a portion of the urn or a portion of the remains to Kody. But they were sort of shocked to learn that Kody was discussing burying him because that wasn't what the plan was when they were dealing with the family originally. And so they mentioned that when Kody did not get his way, it's with this particular memorial. They think that's the time when the Wyoming thing was created so that Kody can have his narrative of being a mourning father who embarked on a journey to bring his son home. But the Kody who is on TV pretending to be sad and Robyn who is there pretending that she cares, they told us was not the way they acted in life. And the consensus of the family again was that they did not want them there. They wanted to respect Garrison's wishes. They did not want it used for the TV. A lot of the siblings were absolutely furious about them. They didn't speak to their dad. Kody and Robyn showed up so that they could make money off of it, so that they could exploit it for ratings, so that Kody can play the grieving father figure, so that Robyn can play the abused horribly treated stepmother being so shunned and disrespected by the family. But again, the manner in which they entered as per this individual was as if Kody and Robyn were the queen and king and everybody was to bow down to them, and the family was like no, nobody, insignificant. And it was clear to them that they had no connection whatever with anybody in the room. They even went so far as to claim that Kody had immediate family members there with him who would not speak to him, such as his own family members would not speak to him because of what he did. So Kody cares more about what he can present to you guys on a show rather than what the truth is. And I'm telling you this because they're worried about how it's going to be shown on the show. They didn't agree with how Kody stated he was going to bury him because it's just so disrespectful to what the family had wished for Garrison along with what Garrison had wanted. So he had stated he wanted to be cremated and Kody did not have a right to do that. And so if he did, it was done through most likely coercive means, manipulation. And Garrison was a service member that should have been honored, and he should have, if he was going to be buried by the military, received a proper military burial. And that's not what he received. Therefore, some additional things were that they mentioned that Mary was super nice. They mentioned that they were actually extremely surprised due to the manner in which she is made out to be publicly on the show via like Kody and all of those, that she would be nasty, yet they said that Mary was such a sweetie among them and the most polite. And they explained that all of the children were very nice, and it really was Kody and Robyn who just were so bad about the situation, making the whole thing be all about themselves. I'm sorry, because the individuals who work for the mortuary services and that do this for families of military personnel, they take the job so serious. They want to be so respectful and do honor to the family, correct? They want to ensure that the service member receives the send-off that they are worthy of for the service that they provided to the nation and for the sacrifices that they make, and wanting to ensure that they're remembered and honored and that it's done with dignity and respect, and telling a camera you want to bury the service member after they've actually had a military service that they felt was just completely disrespectful. Kody and Robyn arriving like this just goes to show me that they literally don't care about anyone but themselves. And Robyn arriving in such a manner when she was explicitly told not to arrive and arriving anyway, and Kody bringing her along and doing that on purpose, in spite of what everyone there wanted, knowing that Garrison did not wish for her to be there and that Garrison didn't want his dad there, and they arrived anyway. It is just a total lack of respect for Garrison in his death and his life. Kody wasn't letting him Garrison in his house, and then in his death he doesn't have any respect for the last wishes of what his son wanted, which was that his dad and his stepmom keep away, and that they don't want it taped. It seems like a lot of individuals within this family do not wish to be appearing on this show, and Kody just keeps on going. And I don't know what the contracts are, but I feel bad because they think that Kody is going to use this now to attempt to build the narrative that the family is abusive to Robyn and that they are so abusing her and they're so abusing him and he is so hurt and he's the victim, when it's not true. The reason he didn't show up was because of the harm he does to the family and his everlasting need and desire to take advantage of them despite having no connection with them. The only reason he appears to do things with them is to get a camera, and that's all. He whimpers for a camera and that's all. Completely detached from reality and from the children he made. No connection with them. That's the truth. So don't buy into it. That's what their message was to me, is don't fall for it. It's not true. So what do you think about this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, please make sure that you remember this is from their perspective, alleged, and all for your entertainment and educational purposes only. And keep in mind that service people are human. Garrison's life was a life. This individual wants individuals to remember he was a serviceman that should be remembered and respected for that fact, and he was a good guy and he did not deserve this. And that is why they're speaking out. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you are not subscribed, and tap the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye guys.